story. So it looked like the FBI is subpoenaing the WNBA and the NBA.
The FBI has stormed into the heart of professional basketball, and league commissioners are being hauled in for urgent questioning. Federal agents are now demanding phone records, documents, and internal files, allegations that could shake the very foundations of both the NBA and WNBA. This isn't gossip. It isn't a social media rumor. This is the law moving in, and it's serious. Teams across the country are under scrutiny, schedules dissected, communications seized. In an instant, the world of professional sports has shifted from entertainment to a high-stakes investigation with national consequences. Before we dive deeper, we want to hear from you. Do you think gambling scandals are more widespread in sports than anyone admits? Or is this just the tip of a much darker iceberg?
Coming out about this whole NBA scandalous situation. The WNBA is at the front line of it all too, because they is connected to this league. Now, I am here to tell you, the FBI is letting it be known they want phone records, schedules, the whole shebang. Now, we know just a couple of days ago, it was reported that none other than Adam Silver had to meet with the committee to discuss this whole situation.
The FBI has now officially launched a probe into the NBA, and by extension, the WNBA. This is no longer a behind-the-scenes league matter that can be swept under the rug with a few fines or suspensions. Federal investigators are demanding phone records, internal documents, schedules, and even physical property from multiple franchises. The Department of Justice is watching closely, and congressional committees have begun grilling league officials. The stakes could not be higher. Here's what we know so far. According to multiple breaking reports, including The Athletic, the NBA has formally requested records from several teams, with the Los Angeles Lakers repeatedly singled out. Why them? That mystery will unfold. But the key point is clear: this is not about one isolated team. Several franchises are under the microscope, and the Lakers are simply the most recognizable name caught in the spotlight. Already, 2 Lakers employees have stepped forward, handing over their personal phones: Mike Monchase, a team staffer, and Randy Mims, an executive administrator. Their voluntary cooperation suggests either clear consciences or legal counsel advising them to play it safe. Either way, federal investigators now have unrestricted access to calls, messages, and communications from these devices. The question on everyone's mind: what exactly is being investigated? At the center lies sports gambling, allegations that players, coaches, or staff may have shared inside information to give bettors an edge. This goes far beyond casual betting. We're talking about potential conspiracy to defraud, the exploitation of confidential information for profit, and even the possibility of manipulating games. These are not mere league violations. These are federal crimes, carrying consequences that could reshape the entire sport.
Federal indictments were announced involving current player Terry Rozier and current head coach Chauncey Billups. What was your initial reaction, and what have the last 36 hours been like for you?
My initial reaction was I was deeply disturbed. There's nothing more important to the league and its fans than the integrity of the competition. And so I had a pit in my stomach. It was very upsetting.
And Terry Rozier was allowed to keep playing after an NBA investigation ruled that there was no NBA rules violated. What do you make of that decision now amid the FBI's allegations against him?
So what happened was, because bets were placed through legalized legal betting companies, they picked up aberrational behavior around a particular game in March of 23. And so that was brought to our attention by the regulators and the betting companies. We then looked into that situation and were very transparent about it. And while there was that aberrational betting, we frankly couldn't find anything. Terry at the time cooperated. He gave the league office his phone. He sat down for an interview. And we ultimately concluded that there was insufficient evidence, despite that aberrational behavior, to move forward. We then worked directly with the law enforcement, as they said at the press conference, that the league has been cooperating And so that was obviously over 2 years ago. So the federal government has subpoena power, can threaten to put people in jail, can do all kinds of things that a league office can't do. So we've been working with them since then. And of course, what they announced yesterday was an indictment. So 2.5 years later, he still hasn't been convicted of anything, in fairness to Terry. Obviously, it doesn't look good, but he's now been put on administrative leave. And so, there's a balance here of protecting people's rights and investigating. And as I said, we've been working with the government, and they have extraordinary powers.
As we've noted, the league has been cooperating, but federal investigators wield powers that far exceed anything a league office can command. The investigation escalated dramatically once federal charges were filed against high-profile figures. Terry Rozier, a starting guard for the Miami Heat, was arrested, and Shanti Billups, head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers, found herself under legal scrutiny. These are not fringe players or assistant-level staffers. These are established names, pillars of the NBA world. When active players and coaches are facing federal charges, it's clear this scandal runs far deeper than anyone imagined, and then there's the political firestorm. Congressional committees are demanding answers. Why didn't the NBA report evidence of player and coach involvement in this alleged scheme? This isn't just an oversight, it suggests the league may have known something and failed to act. That's a potential obstruction issue, or, at the very least, a PR nightmare that paints the NBA as either complicit or dangerously incompetent. The Los Angeles Lakers keep surfacing in reports, largely because of connections to LeBron James. Damon Jones, a former NBA star and close friend of LeBron, who has coached alongside him in multiple capacities, is among those charged. No direct accusations have been made against LeBron, yet investigators are demanding records from at least 10 Lakers employees because of these ties. Being close to someone under federal scrutiny puts you in the crosshairs. Authorities want to know what you knew, and when speculation online is already rampant. Some suggest this may explain why LeBron has been largely absent from recent games. Perhaps legal counsel advised him to stay low. Perhaps it's purely coincidental, or just normal injury management. But when federal gambling probes swirl around your organization, and those in your circle are being charged, the questions, and the rumors, are unavoidable.
Remember, the NBA, no subpoena powers. You don't have to talk to the NBA investigators or MLB Department of Investigations. When the federal government asks you a question, you have to answer. Now, you can invoke the Fifth Amendment, be my guest, enjoy, but they have the right to compel you to testify. There are grand juries who are seated to look at evidence in a way that the leagues don't do with their Department of Investigations. It's a totally different level of scrutiny. So Adam Silver, that's the least of his issues, to be asked by people like you, hey, how stupid were you that you cleared Terry Rozier? That is not the question. The question is going forward. He'll answer it, but the question going forward is, what do we do to work better with the FBI, better with the gambling companies who are our partners, to give comfort to our customers, like you said in the first hour, comfort that the integrity has not dropped.
And viewership were climbing, yet financial stability remains fragile. Now, layer a federal gambling investigation on top of all that, a nightmare scenario for a league that was finally building momentum. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert faces some of the toughest questions of her career. If the FBI uncovers even a hint of gambling corruption in the WNBA, the league's credibility could take years to repair. Fans need to trust that games are fair, that outcomes are genuine, that no one is pulling strings behind the scenes. Once that trust is broken, it's almost impossible to rebuild. The political pressure adds another dimension. Congressional hearings are underway, questioning why sports leagues failed to report criminal activity. This isn't just legal, it's political. It's about accountability, transparency, and public trust. The NBA generates billions and wields enormous cultural influence, and Congress is demanding answers. Why wasn't the league doing more to prevent or expose illegal gambling? Some defend the league, saying it's impossible to monitor every employee or stop every bad actor. And while that's partially true, the weight of federal charges against current players and coaches, combined with subpoenas and congressional scrutiny, signals a systemic problem, not isolated incidents. Reports repeatedly use the term comprehensive federal investigation, and everyone involved should take notice. Comprehensive means every team, every department, every individual with access to critical information is under review.